Hi, and welcome to Matt Holman Talks Mental Health, the podcast where I have the wonderful opportunity to catch up with amazing humans. For this session, I have the pleasure in introducing Edyta Satchell to this conversation. Welcome, Edyta.
Matt, thank you very much for having me. I'm really thrilled to be here with you and help you with the good cause. I love it.
Oh, brilliant. Well, and we're going to get right into the conversation in a second. And this is part of this podathon that we're doing at the moment. 24 podcasts are being recorded over 24 hours. You're number 3 on this list of amazing humans and conversations that I'm going to be having. I still look like I'm awake, which is good. So I guess we're doing all right at the moment. So as I always do, quick introduction. I'll introduce you as I know you. I was introduced to you through a mutual person within the business travel world, which is an area where we're both very passionate about supporting the conversation around travel wellbeing. I'm sure some of our conversations will go there too. And it's just been a lovely sort of introduction. We had a nice chat about things. It made sense to get you onto a podcast recording with me as well, to really sort of get into the what you do and why you do it. And I think that's the most important part. So it's a pleasure to have you. I just think you're awesome with what you're doing. You're an amazing human, of course, and welcome. So you do your proper introduction. That's my nice introduction for you.
Matt, thank you very much. I have to tell you, you look great. I mean, you spent 3 hours doing that almost, right? So
Yeah,
I
so
love
far.
that.
Mm.
And I know you have more to go. So I appreciate that. And I like to be, I think at the beginning of your things
Yeah.
because it's always different. So I'm Edyta Satchell. I'm America's travel, wellness, and beauty expert. Well, that's different, right? Beauty and travel and things. So we'll be talking about it today. And what I do, I help people who travel a lot and traveled in the past before COVID. And even they are traveling now. A lot of people are traveling now. So I
Mm.
help them to look and feel their very best before, during, after travel, and when they are at home, so that they can have that beauty, youthfulness, confidence, productivity, success. And I also help corporations with wellness, travel wellness programs implement, create, do whatever they need to do so that their employees, they have happy, healthy, productive employees. And of course, what's important, they have a healthy bottom line, right? So that's what I do. That's a couple of sentences of introduction.
Lovely and amazing, and we'll get into that and as we go into the conversation, of course. The big question, as we're asking everybody, this is a day or this is a 24-hour window where we're talking about mental health openly. Your journey with mental health, physical health, any form of health that you can determine. I'd love to know more about you, and that's what these conversations are about. So talk about who you are. Tell us who you are.
I love the question. I have to tell you, I've been working in the travel industry for 20 years.
Yeah.
And you really think like, oh, she works in the travel industry, she knows it all, right? And I thought I knew, but I guess I didn't know how to be healthy, how to be well when I was traveling,
Yeah.
how to take care of myself. And from every single corner of that thing, right? I mean, health is multidimensional, the mental health, nutrition, your beauty, your inner beauty, right? Too. All of this is important. So, what happened to me? I used to travel quite a lot before COVID, and I was a busy executive. I traveled a lot, over 100 days sometimes on the road annually, which is a lot. When you have a daughter, when you have a husband, you have a house, it's a lot. And what happened to me was I was exhausted. I was tired. You may even think I was going crazy, right? We are talking about mental health.
Yeah.
There was no such thing like mental health. No one was teaching me, no one was telling me, no one was showing me things, how to do, how to travel, how to perform, how to be productive on the road, and how to even be productive at home. Because when you come home after work, whether you are traveling or not, whether you are in the office for 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, you have to be healthy and well, and the mental health was super important. So what happened to me was, I remember one of those trips which I took was, I was traveling. I took a flight. It was a red-eye flight, and for whatever reason, I seemed like I arrived in destinations like at like 7 in the morning, right? And
Yeah.
we know our hotel room is never ready at 7 in the morning. But at 8 o'clock, we have to perform, we have to entertain, we have to talk to people, we have to look amazing, we have to feel even better than amazing, right?
Yeah.
And we have to be 100% of it, us, right? And it doesn't happen like that. We put a, good face to the, poker face, right? As you say
Yeah.
it. And to that bad game, and that's what happens to so many executives, people who travel. And again, even if you don't travel, it's the same thing. You work many hours, you are mentally exhausted. How many times did we come and from the office, even working now, even when you are working now during, Zoom calls, they're exhausting, and you have to be focused, you have to be productive. But that one particular example I want to mention is when I traveled, I arrived at the hotel again, yet another trip, 7 in the morning. I caught something. I was sweating. My face was red. It was a bug, some kind of a bug. As you can only imagine, I had to use the bathroom multiple times, and I had to remove my makeup. I was not feeling well. I was, to say it nicely. But I had a breakfast presentation, and you know what? I had to present in front of 100 people without the makeup on. For a busy executive, for a woman, executive woman who has to look and feel her best and be, at her best all the time. I was not, and I had to put that, nice face to the bad game, and people, they could tell wasn't there. I wasn't feeling great. I felt like the Q&A session will never end, as you can imagine, having headache. And where's that mental? I mean, mentally, you are totally exhausted because if you don't look your best, you don't feel your best, you cannot be productive. And mentally, it's like it's draining you because you are nervous, you are upset, you are everything. And I was like, oh my God, after that sort of thing, I said, there must be a better way of doing. So I started creating a wellness programs that started working with individuals to help them with that health and wellness, mental health as well. During travel, so that they can have it all. They can be productive, they can be successful, and have that beauty and youthfulness, right? And I have to tell you, I thought that during COVID I would lose clients. I did not.
No.
No, I mean, the value I provide to people is, I think, priceless based on what I'm being told. And even if they stopped traveling, there are so many other things we talk about. We talk about that because I'm an integrative nutrition health coach. So we talk about everything. I just chose to work with people who travel because I understand them. It's me. I am that person, right? And I went through all those different things in life and during my corporate world, which encompasses all those aspects of health. And mental health was one of them too,
Yep.
right? Where people are being depressed. I was depressed. I, different things happened to me. I was irritated. That impacts my family. I didn't have time for them. So I talk to my clients during COVID and I support them in all those challenges that they have. And they're not traveling, so they have a different type of challenge right now. They're in front of the Zoom every morning or all day for that matter, and they have different challenges. It's the eating, it's the nutrition, all of this. You have to feed your brain,
Yep.
right? I mean, there are two ways of feeding your brain for that health, mental health too, right? Doesn't make
Mm.
sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely it does. And everything's connected, and I think that's the reality, isn't it? So you can't just sort of take out mental health and take out nutrition and take out all the other elements. Everything is interconnected, and that's all one big function of us as a human. And what I find fascinating, Editor, is you're using your personal experience to drive the conversation and to have those discussions with people. And I can absolutely empathize with the 100 days away a year. I used to do that when I was in travel for 20 years. It seems like it's sort of maybe that's the shelf life of a person in travel, maybe 20 years, and then we need to reflect and think about what we're doing. And it was so true. It was landing, presenting, expectations. Who put those expectations on you? Was that you? Was that your business, do you think?
My bosses, you know
Right.
how it is, right?
Yep.
It's the
Yeah.
managers. And I have to tell you, it's many times I've heard from the
Mhm.
managers, from the CEOs and other, people within the companies I worked for. Well, I don't care how you get there, as long as you get there and you do what you need to do. And that's
Yeah.
the reality, unfortunately, right? And we as employees, we have to cope with that, and we need to find a way of dealing with those kind of
Mm.
requirements. Especially now during COVID, it's even more difficult. It's more draining. We are more stressed out. We
Yeah.
are more engaged. We are split between, your kids at home, the homework you have to help them with. In the past we didn't have that connection, right? And Do we have time for more like me time? I don't know, because when my daughter started
Yeah.
doing,
Yeah.
working school from home, I was like, oh my God, what's going on? I thought
Yeah.
I would have more time for myself and my business and other things. And turns out, well,
Not
it
true.
wasn't the case,
No.
right?
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. It's so relative to right now, what you've just said, in terms of homeschooling and the change to the environment, not being in, going traveling off to see people, staying at home, Zoom calls. I actually really enjoy Zoom calls because it is a real nice chance to, in this situation for me, to have a chat with somebody. A lot of it's business related, so you've got multiple people on all the time, and there's, it's chaos half the time. But I want to go back to the point where things changed. So you had that moment when things were, when you were on stage, when it was really difficult without the makeup and with 100 odd people in front of you. What did you do at that point that then changed where you were going? Did you do something there, or was it later that you evolved yourself? When did you change?
I got back to whenever my hotel room was ready. It was afternoon, you can imagine,
Yeah.
right? And I said, I have to tell you, I was in tears.
Yeah.
And I said, there must be a better way. And I reflected back and I said, I'm almost, I felt depressed. I felt not appreciated, right? I felt like no one cared about me. And that was that moment, that was the turning point when I said, if I feel this way, what about others? I think a lot of other people are feeling the same way because trust me, I was working for a corporation. I was a very successful, female executive. And I had teams of people working for me and we did a lot of different cool projects. We generated revenue for companies, which I greatly enjoyed. But it was so draining. That was that moment in that hotel room, I remember. And then I reflected back again, like, how many trips did I take? Because we don't pay attention to it. How many times did I flew during night, overnight, right? The red-eye flights. How many times I didn't eat, or how many times I had those late dinners where I had to, entertain, and I was eating too much. I was 15 pounds overweight. I couldn't lose it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that mental health, that was that feeling of draining, that feeling of loneliness, and the feeling of that nobody cared. And that was it. That would really, and I decided I want to care. I really want to care. And it became very important to me that I care about other people who work for me.
Well, yeah, I 100% I can understand that, and I appreciate that, and I've been there, and that's something that's real. That's what changed for me. I just turned around and I said, I want to help other people. I don't want to, just be pushed constantly. And I think that's it, isn't it? It's you get to that point where enough is enough, and sometimes your body reacts in certain ways, as you've outlined. Sometimes you react emotionally in the way that you sort of the outpourings of the emotions. I'm so glad you changed. I'm so glad that you came through that, and you know what, use that experience, because it gives passion and power, doesn't it? Do you feel that is your passion now to never go back there?
I have to tell you, I I made a decision. I want to change my life, and it doesn't necessarily mean that I have to change my jobs, if you know what I mean, because many of us who are listening, we can change, we can take those small steps to change our life, but doesn't necessarily mean I have to change my job. Many people ask me, people who are, drained by their jobs, like, Edyta, I want to fall in love with my job again. How can I do it? And that's a mental health. That's the way you are looking at it, right? It's the way it's the perspective that you have, and you can do it. And that's why I did that beauty. I combined travel awareness and beauty, because beauty can be interpreted in multiple different ways, right? The inner beauty, the inside out, your face, your style, your everything else. And I help with people, and especially women, but I have also men who I support, that it's all about that. How do you feel? Because the beauty starts with the feeling. The feeling starts with the mental health, right? When you feel you are mentally fine, then the beauty starts. The beauty then gives you that confidence that you need. If you feel confident, if you are confident, then you are productive. You have that productivity that you need.
Yeah.
When you are productive, you can be successful in whatever you do because you have a totally different perspective on things, right? And I have to tell you, my beauty stuff is put a makeup on in the morning. And what should it be? And I'm laughing because this morning I actually for the first time recorded a video. How do I do my makeup? And it took me it's 3.5 minutes to, without a break, to put the makeup on. And it's sort of a fast thing, Zoom sort of thing. And this is
Yeah.
what you see.
Yeah, amazing. It looks great. I'm going to try it tomorrow when I'm really tired, just to put life back into me, probably.
But those simple tips and
Yeah.
tricks and that help because people don't realize that they can have it and they can have it all. I always say you can have it all.
Yeah.
And I talk about things that you should not spend a lot of money on things. I talk about things you should not be spending a lot of time on that either. And, I am not a professional makeup artist, just as an example, but I can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. And I encourage you, I empower you. And whether it's a beauty, makeup, or health, mental wellness, things that you need to do, you can do it. And absolutely, and there are different ways of mental health, right? We know that, how to improve your mental health, multiple different
Yeah.
ways.
And it is, you're right, and it is, there are so many different ways, but just having that sort of approach to your day, the routine of your day. And we, in mental health, we talk a lot about sort of setting a routine and having the ability to sort of know what's happening and what you're doing, and with the routine of sort of putting on the makeup or doing my hair or whatever it is, or having a shave in the morning. It does feel like you're productive doing that. There's a positive element to it. It's like getting dressed in the morning, isn't it? I think early on in COVID, a lot of people were doing Zoom calls still in their pajamas. And then there was a joke which was, these are my day pajamas and these are my night pajamas. So it was sort of the only thing you changed into was another set of pajamas. And I think that reality is, we need to get up, we need to do something, and we need to take care of ourselves in a lot of ways too. I want to look okay on these sessions, so I do take care, and I think that's what we should all try and encourage as well a little bit too, because it makes you feel good, and that's the key, isn't it? And when you feel good, that's a positive mental experience.
Yes, and I have to tell you, for mental health, one of the tips and tricks, what we do is we need to learn something new.
Okay.
And that exercises our, gray cells, right?
Yeah.
So we need to learn something new. And whether it's a little something, I don't know, knitting, some people do knitting, but learn how to do that makeup, learn how to do your own hair, learn how to do that little things. You can do it. That's it. You are basically exercising your brain. You are making an effort because everyday work which we do is always the same. So we don't exercise, our brain cells don't exercise as much as they should be. But if you do something new, that's very healthy for your brain, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
Which helps. Yeah, which helps with this whole, mental health and wellness, because that's needed. You are then distracted. You are sort of, yes, you need a little bit distraction of the everyday work things, which are sometimes exhausting, right? You need a little bit of something different.
Yep.
And how you can do it. Learn something new. Don't spend a lot of time on that. Every day, do a little bit something different. Do something different or do the same thing in a different way.
Yeah.
That's a mental health.
Yeah.
That's thing, right?
Oh, you know what? I feel your positivity radiating off of you, and I loved it. And I'm a little bit torn because I'm like, I wish I was going to speak to you at 4 o'clock in the morning, because I think that might be the time where I need this energy boost. And it's interesting because we spoke a few weeks ago now, just before this, before we were doing this plan, and I asked you, so share with me here, what should I be doing to take care of myself for the next 20 plus hours that I'm going to be awake? What would you be sort of proposing people should be doing? I can't sleep, unfortunately, because I just don't have the time, but what would you be saying to people in that situation?
Number one, hydration. We know that, right? Think about that. And coffee is not the solution.
No, there's no coffee. I'm not on the coffee yet. No, maybe tomorrow.
Coffee is not the solution.
Yeah.
Another thing is think about light. It has to be bright.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I can show it, but you see, I have my little lamp that helps me with the light and bright. That energizes me.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and if I turn it off, let's see if you can tell the difference. Let's give it a try.
Go on.
You
Oh,
see,
you can. Yeah, absolutely.
you can see the difference. I mean,
There you
I
go.
have the,
There's mine.
there you go.
I don't think I need it just yet. I did a lot of shine coming off one side. Maybe I need to do some of that makeup. And this is
Try,
really good for anybody that's listening to this as a podcast, by the way, because we're doing
yes.
light tests at the moment to see how bright things are.
Yes, Matt, if I may suggest, put it behind your computer
Yeah, I
so that
don't
it's
have space.
sort of,
Yeah,
try to do it if you have
I will.
space, right? If
Yeah,
we
I
have
will.
space, put it in,
Yeah.
you know, in the back of the computer, and try to have, because you know what, that energizes you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
The
And
light.
I always remember that was the thing you did say to me, because later on this evening I'm going to be moving into my house, and I've got some big lights in there pretty much
Oh,
already.
perfect.
So I'm like, yes, flood myself with light. I love it. I love it.
But you know, you don't want to look tired either, right?
No.
Unless you want to, right? So the light will
Yeah.
help you with like, oh, he looks great. How is he doing it, right?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. So let's just go back and sort of a couple of questions around, well, just a very quick sort of question around the business that you're doing now. And you've said you've been busy, you've been keeping on, you know, the clients have kept coming. Where do you see your role going? Is there any sort of ambitions or targets you're aiming for at the moment?
My target is to be able to educate every single business female executive on everything
Okay.
what I do. I created my own Finel .com website,
Okay.
and if you Google Edyta Satchell, you'll be able to come across that.
Yep.
Because I want to educate. I created my own Facebook group. It's for ladies, for women who want to feel and look their very best, whether they travel or not.
Mhm.
But there are tips and tricks. And today I'm actually posting my video, my makeup video, right?
Yep.
So, and the video, those are things I want you to keep in mind, that I'm not a professional makeup artist, and that's why I'm posting this kind of stuff, because I want people to know, like I said, if she can do it, I can do it, right?
Yeah.
The other thing is, that's my goal, to empower women to do it. But also my other thing is to have as many companies, as many CEOs, managers, to increase that awareness of wellness, health, mental health, and other things that they are doing. So I've been doing a lot of webinars, training, employee training, a lot of different supporting corporations with their programs, implementing, looking for their travel related and wellness related gaps in their travel policies. You know, I have 20 years in the travel industry, so I really speak the
Yeah.
language
Yeah.
of health, but now it's wellness. And I speak the language of travel. Now it's wellness, but I'm also, you see, is certified in oncology aesthetics, which means I can, and I support cancer survivors. How many of those kind of, you know, employees in our companies are there who suffered, are cancer survivors, or going through active treatment, right? So
Yeah.
I help to support those people too. That's my goal, to empower women to, it's not about, you know, it's about helping them be, you know, the best of themselves. That's my goal. And like I said, I created that Finale, and I have those uh, uh, programs for corporations so they can implement. And trust me, it is not very expensive.
Yeah.
It's very reasonable.
Brilliant. So for anybody that is listening that would like to know more, you can go and check out Edyta's profile. It will be attached to this video anyway, so please do check it out and go and have a look. And I hope you get an abundance of responses from people, and, you know, fingers crossed, we'll throw that out into the universe, and I'm sure that will come to you. So it really is at the end of this now. You know, this is a brief whistle. It feels like at least just so quick. I usually do half an hour, and we've shrunk it slightly just to enable time in between. But it's just been fascinating. I really could sit here all day with you, Edyta, and talk about all the things that you're doing. And I think it's fascinating. So big thank you from me. Any final words from you? Any sort of quotes, statements, things you want to share with anybody quickly?
I just want to say that feeling and looking your best mental health is not as difficult as we think it is.
Yeah.
And I want to encourage everyone to try something new. Contact you, Matt. Contact me with the questions. That doesn't cost anything. You know, do not be afraid to ask questions. Ask for tips. We are here to help and support, right, Matt?
Yep.
I mean, we want to be able to, we are open and we're approachable. And send us your questions, send us, whatever is on your mind, since we are
Yeah,
talking about
brilliant.
mental health, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I won't be answering them for the next 24 hours, but you could always send them over to Edyta. She'll be happy to respond to any correspondence on that.
I
No,
will.
brilliant. What a great idea. And yeah, absolutely. If anybody is struggling, if anybody does want to talk, if anybody does want to reach out, you can reach out to us. And thank you for that invitation as well, Edyta, for people to do so. You can reach out to me, but as I always say in these, if you are struggling, if you are worried about anything, make sure you talk. Please do reach out to people. There are lots of people out there that really do care, and that's what this is all about, is just saying, look, we go through stuff in our lives and at times it's very difficult and challenging. We need to be able to be open and talk about those experiences, and that's exactly what Edyta you've done today for us, so thank you for that. And if anybody does struggle, wants to, in the UK in particular, Samaritans exists today, 116 123, to answer your calls any time of the day, and across the world in all the nations there are supports out there. Too many for me to reel off in the next 10 seconds, but please do make sure you look out for people. Thank you, Edyta, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Matt. Really appreciate that. And I love the good cause.
Oh, thank you. You're more than welcome. And it's been a pleasure to have you on here. See you soon.